Did you see the Duolingo bird is dead?
I did see that.
How tragic.
It's an interesting move.
Oh, I love it.
I remember seeing like someone on TikTok being like, I can't believe like some Gen Z interns managed to kill off the Duolingo bird.
Do you know about their beef with like Dua Lipa?
No.
They put out the like obituary thing, like Duo's dead.
Yeah.
And Dua Lipa tweeted like may Duo rest in peace, or like they have a beef.
Right.
I'm gonna find this tweet because it's actually really fucking funny. Sorry, she wrote "Till death do part." Yeah, yeah. Can Dua Lipa enter the stand book?
No, she's not in any of the films he's talking about.
Yeah, she's in Argyle, which is horrendous. She's in Barbie
When?
as a mermaid. Hi, Barbie. Hi.
Wow.
She's like in love with John Cena. Yeah.
Don't remember that.
Wow.
Should we start?
Yeah, well, I felt like that was a start anyway, but... Oh, I need to think of a great intro for this. That was the intro.
Welcome to our brave new podcast.
Oh, God, I might just walk off. Welcome back to Plot to Go. Episode number 8. Wow, we're 2 months into the year. How? That's
Yeah, no, I was thinking
scary.
about that earlier. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
It's actually very, very, very scary. This week, we're talking about Captain America Brave New World. And Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. 2 fourth installments in a franchise.
Didn't even think about that.
Which is really funny. I think we alluded to this last week, but I'm shocked which one I preferred. I don't know your opinion on either of these.
Oh, I know which one we both preferred.
Okay.
Because I've seen your review on Captain America. Didn't watch it because obviously like I don't want to hear your thoughts too much prior to this. But I did see like, I think it was on your story. So I saw like the subtitles at the start of it and I was like, oh God.
Yeah, I made a TikTok because this film irritated me. Spoilers.
Can we tackle that one first then?
Well, I was thinking, because this is one of these like spoilery movies, do you want to go Captain America, non-spoilers,
Okay.
Bridget Jones, and then come back and do any spoilery thoughts?
On both of them.
You want spoilery thoughts for
I
Bridget
do.
Jones? Okay. So wait, do you just want to do non-spoiler, spoiler, non-spoiler, spoiler?
Why don't we just do non-spoiler, and we'll just freely chat about both of them when we get to the back path of this.
Okay, so I'll mark in spoiler sections for the pair of them.
Yeah, because those will be shorter because we'll have established talk about the films prior.
So you can listen to this if you've not seen either. We'll start completely non-spoiler. And then we'll dive into spoilers. I'm so curious as to why you want to talk about...
I just don't want to have to like think about what I'm saying. There might be nothing that comes out that's spoilery, but I just want to like freely talk about.
Okay,
like,
Bridget, you don't want to be thinking,
Yeah.
Does Bridget Jones go down another fire pole?
Does Bridget Jones join the Avengers?
They're actually interlinked.
Interlinked.
If people don't know what you're referencing,
I look crazy.
Yes.
It's a film podcast.
That's TV.
No, Interlinked's Blade Runner.
Oh my god, it is!
Did you think Severance or something?
I thought it was Doctor Who.
Oh, that's funny. Who's the Doctor Who nerd now?
Oops. Well, not me, because I got it wrong. Okay, doke. So let's just start with Captain America, I guess. This is Captain America Brave New World. Sam Wilson, who has been in the MCU for over a decade now, has finally become Captain America. And this is his story. The plot, it follows... I really am going to struggle going through this because...
Try not to talk about like the main plot points of it.
No, I just think there's no plot there. But essentially, this film follows... actually, do you know what?
It's essentially just there's a thing in the ocean. They all want stuff. All the nations want something from it. There's like a deal that's going to happen between a bunch of countries, but the main ones are America and Japan. The president's at the forefront of it. He's Thunderbolt Ross. There's just strings being pulled behind the scenes that are going to show up Mr. Ross, and Captain America's trying to figure that out the whole way.
Yep. That's what the film was meant to be.
I mean, it is that. It just feels very shallow in a lot of what it does, that's all.
Sure. The letterbox description, because I think this is hilarious. After meeting with newly elected US President Donald Trump, Thaddeus Ross, Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident. He must discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. That's the entire movie, by the way. That is all 3 acts are in that description. I'll let you start because I want to know what you thought of this movie before I rip it to shreds once again.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna let you do that, and then maybe just like at the end.
Nope.
Like, I kind of like this stuff.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I was like, I was gonna say fine. It's not fine. It's bad, but I think I thought it was gonna be so bad that when I went into it and it was bad, I was like, hey, it's just a film. It's a film that I watched. I'm surprised that I didn't come out like completely hating it, because I was in a kind of like shitty screening where there was like a guy 2 seats away from me who was like a teenager. Obviously they're on like a date or something, that was just like talking at every like silent moment in the film. Like you'd wait for it to get to a silent point and you'd like interject. And then there was like kids over in the corner that were like shouting over it. This is like an IMAX screening. I'm like, why do these children have the money to go see this film and then just like talk over it? And what I knew, because obviously I saw that, and then I actually saw Bridget Jones after. I was like, I'm gonna go into a Bridget Jones screening and it's not gonna have the fucking like smarmy wee fucking teenage boys that are gonna be like really annoying through this film, because they're not going to go see it. And sure enough, it was a much better viewing experience than Captain America. So I'm surprised that like I still didn't walk out hating it, even though that I was kind of like frustrated through the whole film with like noise in the background. I mean, that's what you get when you go to the cinema as part of the viewing experience and all that.
Especially on the weekend.
Yeah, because it was a Saturday. I was like, I was so indifferent to this film. The film ended and I was like, shocked at like the scene that it closed on, because I can see what they were trying to do with the 2 characters there, like trying to build this like bond. It didn't particularly work for me. I don't think it was a bad scene. I just don't think that like the relationship was established enough for me for like that to have any impact at the end. The performance Harrison Ford is not good in this film.
Wow, we have completely different opinions.
That's brilliant. He has a good scene with... So, this is going to be interesting. I like Anthony Mackie in this film. I think he has a good performance in this film. I believe him as Captain America in this.
Okay.
He has really good scenes with individuals in the film that their performances I think are good in. So like Harrison Ford and him have a good scene, I think, on like the ship. But the points where like Harrison Ford is like turning into the Hulk are hilarious. They're like the funniest thing. It's so over the top, especially when he comes out of Hulk form and he's like there breathing. He's like, it's not believable. Like if you compare that to like Mark Ruffalo, much better performance, much more believable. I think probably in my head, because I've not watched Mark Ruffalo do that in a while, it's presumably more of like Mark Ruffalo looks like he's holding back, whereas like Harrison Ford looks like he's like maybe becoming unleashed. And maybe like those 2 performances, the difference in them is like the Hulk should be trying to hold back. Yeah. Whereas like his was like, I'm turning into Angry Monster Man, and then he turns into it. I don't know, dude. Like the better like set piece action wise was the stuff with the ships, which is like in the middle of the film, like towards the end of the second act, compared to the end part of the film.
This is so okay.
So we have flipped opinions about things?
Quite a bit.
Okay, go on.
No. Finish what you were saying.
I mean, I've not written down any notes.
No. About that middle part.
With the ships. I just found that more interesting than what was happening at the end. The end of the film, which is like the finale that you're building up to, feels like it's like tacked on.
Interesting.
And I think that's probably to do with the fact that it doesn't feel like the film has a lot of plot.
No, yeah, completely.
So it does. It feels like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, where you kind of...
What a glowing comparison.
It's not as bad as that, and what I'm going to say, but like when you go from in this particular point,
Okay.
where you go from scene to scene, and it kind of just feels like a video game cutscenes where you're just kind of like jump, like you've missed a bit. That's probably kind of close to that. Yeah, I honestly walked out of this film and I didn't have much to think about.
Huh. I found this insulting to watch. Like, actually insulting.
Wow.
I walked out of it and I was like, the fact that you think that you can make me watch something like this and not question what's going on is beyond me. Like, I saw this had like an 82% audience score or something on Rotten Tomatoes. And it genuinely, maybe this is an over-exaggeration, but it made me concerned for society. Because I'm like, if you just give a little bit of thought to this movie, it all just falls apart. Like, they had extensive reshoots, which I feel like is widely known at this point. This movie was supposed to come out ages ago.
I think you can see...
Yes, you can see it!
Presumably that's maybe why the CGI looks so shoddy in a lot of points.
Shoddy.
And Isaiah's haircut changes in this film.
Oh, sure.
Multiple times. Keep switching back and forth.
Scenes look like they're from different movies. They're lit completely differently. Like, there's a whole character, I don't know her name, and I don't have the letterboxd page up anymore, the Israeli woman.
What was her name?
I don't know. That she's a former Black Widow in this movie.
Yeah, she comes from the Red Room.
Ruth. Her whole character, there was issues with her because I think the actress was part of the IDF and whatever. There was a whole bunch of stuff. She, does not need to be in this movie, and there's scenes which baffle me. She's in like a super suit, but she's got a jacket over it to hide her super suit.
Yeah.
But her super suit is on the poster. Like, she's supposed to be something, and that never amounts to anything. It's like she's in half the movie. There's a guy as well that's kind of helping Sam figure out what's going on with Thaddeus Ross, which I'll pause there. The whole mystery of this movie of what's happening to the president, who's behind it, none of that is interesting, because in the first 5 minutes you are shown that somebody is pulling the strings, and if you have watched the MCU, it's obvious who that guy is, and if you've not watched the MCU, it doesn't fucking matter. Some random I won't spoil it, I guess. I'll get to that later.
A lot of exposition in this film to catch you up with stuff.
That's what pissed me off as well. Like, this whole you have to watch everything to understand stuff. I've seen a few reviews that are like, oh, so I've not watched blah blah blah. I didn't understand this. How the fuck did you not understand this? Because they explain everything, and yet if you've seen everything, it's like, why am I listening to dialogue that's like
a lot of news reports catching you up and things?
The amount of news reports in this movie,
yeah,
it is a lazy way to give exposition, and the movie here is half either delivered through news reports or half delivered through Sam Wilson. Also, sorry, going back to that side character, it feels like he should be a bigger part of it, is what I was going to say.
The side character,
who's helping figure out what's happening to Ross.
Oh, like military man.
Yes.
That's what we're going to call him.
Military man.
Yep.
He feels like he should be more like something. Apparently there was 3 major superheroes in this movie cut just completely. Yeah, that were going to be introduced in this. You can just feel reshoots all over this movie, and it's not enjoyable, because then you're stringing together a plot, and why would I be invested in when you're not invested in telling a story that's cohesive? I don't know. The thing I was going to get on about Sam is that in those moments, and I think we're actually talking about the same scenes when you were when he has moments with characters, there's 2 in my mind, which we will get to in spoilers because I would like to talk about them, but 2 in my mind, and there's a few others where it slows down. He becomes Sam Wilson, who is this jokey, like fun guy, because we've seen him in so many movies, like you know who his personality is. Those scenes are great, but in every other scene, it just feels like he's like this vessel for exposition. I'm like, it's his movie, and he's like, we have to do this because this. Great, like, he's just really boring as a lead. And considering it's a Captain America movie, I feel like when you look at all these other Marvel movies, the leads at least have the personality and the character that the movie might be shit around them, but you're invested in the movie because of them.
I will say that I didn't feel like that about Anthony Mackie's Captain America.
That's interesting.
Not that I'm not saying that point that you just made, where like the character being interesting enough to carry a bad film. I wouldn't say that happened for me, because I still think it was a bad film.
Yeah.
But I did believe him as Captain America, probably not because of the Captain America aspect of it. Like the things you're talking about are the Captain America scenes, but I think I'm dwelling more on the Sam Wilson scenes. So like that to me, that is the heart and soul of Captain America, is like the person behind the mask. So when I'm thinking of Captain America, I'm thinking of like those slower moments. That is who that person is to me.
Sure. I hope my stomach didn't come up on that mic. My stomach just roared.
You know what? I actually didn't recognize that's what that noise was until you...
That's funny.
Honestly, I blanked out until you brought it up, and then I retroactively heard it. So I wouldn't worry about it.
No, I agree, because that's who Captain America is. It's you're more drawn to like Steve Rogers than Captain America, whatever. So I completely agree, but I just don't think this film did a good enough job with that. Like,
yeah,
there's a scene early on.
Person,
huh?
Not even with the action man-y person. Like when Captain America was like when Steve Rogers was in the Captain America suit. The point you're making is that even when he was in like action man mode, he was still an interesting character.
He was still Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Here, Sam Wilson fades away, and he becomes like this blank slate that's just boring. Like. And there are scenes of Sam Wilson as well that I'm just like, huh? Like, I'm picturing early on in the movie, this is not a spoiler, they go to a gym, which also feels like a Nike commercial. Like, the way it's shot, I was like, this is not... How is this in a blockbuster movie? What? But the way that they're just talking, it feels so inorganic, inauthentic to who we know he is.
I didn't feel that.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't on board with them in this movie.
Right, okay.
And I maybe think that's because the like character arts and the intrigue was given to other characters. So when he's in scenes, like say with Isaiah Bradley, super interesting character. And I actually wonder, people who haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, how he comes across. Yeah. Because to me, I know who he is, and I find him super interesting because of that, and it's a follow-up.
The most interesting aspect of the show.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, you are getting a bit more of his story here. But like, for anybody that's just watched the movies, I don't know if that registers as being interesting. Anyway, so like in the scenes with him and Isaiah, I'm more drawn to Isaiah. And the scenes are more drawn to Isaiah. Like, they're written in a way that he's the interesting person. Like, even if you're comparing this to Winter Soldier, where essentially that movie is Bucky's the more interesting person, and that's the like focal point of the movie. There's still stuff going on internally in Steve that he's going on a journey, and sure, it's because he knows Bucky and they have a history and there's stuff there. But like, what does Sam learn in this movie? What journey does he go on? Like, there's absolutely fuck all. And then the end scene, which we'll get to, but the way that ends, that's not a him moment. That's the other character he's with moment. Like, and I think the reason you maybe feel that that's less interesting or whatever is because they don't build up that character enough in the movie. It really just frustrated me.
Keep in mind, I don't know if you remember this. This character was in the trailer, and I think we were talking about him, and he'd been in the show.
Yes. Oh, and you forgot who he is.
Him.
Yeah.
So like, that's how much they've built up this character, I think.
Yeah. And the thing, we'll get to that. We'll put a pin in that.
Yeah.
My like sole positive of this movie, apart from those little like scenes with Sam and the like quiet moments, is Harrison Ford.
Wow.
I really liked his performance. I will admit, my stomach is going nuts, by the way.
Don't worry about it. If sometimes the mic can barely hear me, I think the stomach isn't gonna get.
I feel like my stomach might be more louder than you. Yeah, I will admit, Thaddeus Ross has been a really interesting character throughout the MCU, and this is only really registered for me with the fact that he's a main character in this. Mm-hmm. But actually, when you look back on stuff, kind of really interesting. The whole stuff with Civil War. That's the main thing I was thinking of. There was another movie.
He's only, I think, in Incredible Hulk and Civil War, right? Does he show up in the Avengers or something?
No. He's in Black Widow.
Is he in Black Widow?
Yeah, because he's hunting down Natasha.
I can't remember that film very well. I remember Florence Pugh, like,
the worst CGI moment ever. He's in a few more. Do you have the Letterboxd page up? Oh no, it's not the same actor. So yeah.
And what I did find really funny was that they retroactively decided to shoot Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt
with
Ross,
a mustache.
With the mustache and a wig.
Yes.
Because he has like grey fluffy hair. And it's really funny.
Yeah.
And you get to see it's actually kind of good in showing how the character has grown. Because he's like angry Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
And he's like banging down on the thing that he's like the lectern or whatever that he's shouting at.
Uh-huh.
And then you see like nowadays him.
Yeah.
It kind of works. But it's really stupid.
Yes. But I mean, he turns into a fucking red monster. Like, it's meant to be stupid. I don't know.
Do you want to talk about the VFX for a minute?
Okay, let's go there. And then I'll come back to it.
Really bad.
Really bad.
Especially the end of the film.
The end of the film. Yeah. Actually, though, Red Hulk looks phenomenal.
Sort of. This was the point I was going to make,
okay.
Which was that, especially on the close-ups of Red Hulk, looked amazing. Like when you see Harrison Ford's face and stuff, like the facial capture, there was a lot of chest hair. Really in keeping with like Harrison Ford's look, like shirtless Harrison Ford from Indiana Jones.
By the way, is he just shirtless in every movie?
Maybe.
Harrison Ford is shirtless in this movie. Spoilers, I guess.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
They have like it's really bright red, and I think that's kind of like a detriment to the VFX. I think it looks too out there, and that makes Red Hulk look worse. But the actual model of Red Hulk is like especially good.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, that looks incredible in this scene of like awful whatever's going on. Like the VFX around them looked really bad. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the film, the credits were going. It was ILM that did the facial capture. So like obviously that's why Red Hulk looks so good. Mm-hmm. And then all of like these other random, probably like smaller VFX studios that were pushed to like no ends with like no money. Like it's not their fault that it looked bad. It's just like they have less experience, less money, less people, and they've probably been like rushed to get this thing out.
The green screen at the end. I hope you know what shot I'm talking about. It's just like a mid close up of Sam looking and talking.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's awful. Genuinely, like. Yeah. Do you know what remind me of? A CW show, in more ways than one. And I'll get to that in spoilers. That scene specifically, I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
But I thought Red Hulk for the most part looked good. I think.
We should maybe just move into spoilers on this.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else to say non-spoilery?
My favorite part of the film was. This is funny because I feel like this isn't going to be true for you. Is like before we get to the White House. I feel like I enjoyed the film up until that point.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And then for the rest of the film is just kind of like a mess, I think.
I have a ton more to say, but we'll just talk about it in spoilers. I feel like we've got across
how we feel about the film.
What I was gonna ask is I know you don't you're not
like a
type A like me
rank and stuff.
Where I know where it places for the MCU but like do you know like tier wise, like what other movies you would?
Not got a clue, but it's definitely going to be in like the last third of the project.
Okay. Did you enjoy this more than Multiverse of Madness?
No.
Or The Marvels?
No.
Or Quantumania?
Yes.
You enjoyed this more than Quantumania?
Absolutely yes.
Okay.
I think Quantumania is absolutely atrocious.
Okay.
and that's one of those films that I got told was going to be bad by
Yeah.
everywhere before I went in, and it was still absolutely atrocious.
Okay. So you're in the Ant-Man Quantum Rania realm of...
Yeah, the Quantum Rangia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. As you sip your coffee.
It's somewhere between that and by the way, I don't think I'd place the Marvels down with that stuff.
I know. Sorry. Because people are making a lot of comparisons to these like sequels that are happening now. Do you know? That have kind of just been whatever. I also would not place this near the Marvels or
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. I still don't think they're great movies.
Yeah, but
nowhere
compared
near,
to yeah.
So
Because I think Doctor Strange was messy, enjoyable, and Captain Marvel isn't bad. I don't. Sorry, the Marvels isn't bad. This was like bad, boring, which automatically throws it like so far down the list, which is really unfortunate. I was driving over here. I was thinking, if you buy a Captain America box set going forward with the 4 films, it's just kind of like ruined.
yeah.
Because I don't think the first one's that great personally. I think it's just like good. And
It's good,
It's just
yeah.
like it's just kind of like it's a funny mashup because it's like a war movie that's like quirky and marvelly with like a fucking Red Skull and stuff. And then you get like 2 bangers after it, and so you're ending on like this height, like I'd say peak, but I think I like Winter Soldier better.
Same.
And then you're ending on this film.
Unless they start a new trilogy, but I don't.
If they start a new
want
trilogy
that.
and then it gets like dramatically better.
Actually, do you know what? I think they will. If this does well, which I don't think it will, sadly. I want every movie to do well. I think they'll do a Serpent Society
Yeah,
movie, because why the fuck's they in this movie? We'll get to that. Yeah, for me, this is... At the moment... I also went into this with low expectations and in kind of like a shitty mood. So maybe that influenced it. But I also don't want to go back to the cinemas to
see this.
to go see it. So we'll wait on Disney Plus. Like, to me, this is the 3rd worst thing they've put out.
Wow.
Yeah. I think when you tell me like other movies that I would put around there, I'd put these above it. So like Thor the Dark World, like things like that.
Keep in mind, Thor: The Dark World is the last thing on my list, so I absolutely prefer this to Thor: The Dark World.
That's insane to me. Loki is like good in that movie. There's like decent parts, like things I can find enjoyable. I did not find any of this really enjoyable.
I think I'm the opposite way around, where like Thor Ragnarok is... This is bad boring. Thor Ragnarok is bad forgettable.
Ragnarok.
The Dark World.
Yeah, take that, Taika Waititi.
No, guys, I'm sorry. I love Ragnarok.
You're cancelled. Yeah, I think this is only above Secret Invasion, which is hands down the worst piece
you're
of
not
dog
talking about
shit.
film, you're talking about project.
Oh, sorry. I ranked movies and shows in the same
Yeah.
thing. And then The Incredible Hulk, and then this.
I think The Incredible Hulk's really low down your list.
I really don't like it. I think it's bad.
You see, I thought that until I like rewatched it, and I was like, oh, this isn't that bad.
I have rewatched it recently.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you wouldn't, like, because I trust that your opinion is like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, I'm not saying it's because you watched it like 10 years ago or anything. But when I rewatched it, which would have been like 2020 or something, I actually quite enjoyed it. It's definitely like the weakest one in Phase 1.
I hate people being like, The Incredible Hulk's so underrated. In what world? Sorry. There's some cool action scenes in that, but anyway. Spoilers!
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about?
Start on that scene, because
The one with Sam Wilson and
the
CGI
green
and
screen.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh my lord.
I mean, it looked bad in the trailers, so we knew it was going to look bad.
The cherry blossom. I feel like this is an obvious thing about the reshoots, because at one point Harrison Ford goes to Japan to meet the Japanese Prime Minister, and they're like going through wherever the fuck they are in the Chinese parliament, or Japanese. Sorry. Also, they fully wanted this to be China. Like, if you're talking about global superpowers fighting over an island,
Yeah.
they wanted this to be China, the USA, and Russia, but because that's politically tense, they go, Japan,
Yeah.
and France and India.
Yeah, Japan India, which is like the largest one, where they don't like they've not got any like situation with them.
Yep.
And then like Paris, because like one of the leaders in the Europe, like EU, maybe like Europe.
Interestingly, France is the only one that makes sense to me, because in the MCU they've set up France to be this like really like conflict prone country. I don't know if you remember in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
When Queen Ramonda is like walking into the UN, France is the one that's like, you should be giving us your resources and stuff. So there is a level of consistency, I guess.
That's funny. I did not remember that.
I watched that recently. That's the only reason I remember that. But I was like, oh, they're doing something interesting with global politics. But I like, come on now. Surely that it is meant to be China.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's by the by. Yeah, so you see all this cherry blossom. And I was like, oh, okay. Is the finale going to be here?
I had the same thing.
Like, Japan's known for cherry blossom. Okay, that makes sense. And then it ends up in Washington. And apparently, those cherry blossoms do exist in Washington. That is a place.
Right.
But to me, it felt like a reshoot thing when you've seen it in Japan and then it looks as bad as it does at the end. Also, just on that scene, Marvel really said, you're going to make fun of us for our writing, for the jokes? We're just going to lean into it now with a woman who goes, what did she say? I didn't know they were red. Or, they're red now?
It's like the Star Wars thing. They're red now.
However, that woman, I would like to shout her out. Don't know who she is. She gives an excellent performance in my opinion. She goes, whatever her line is, like, oh, they're red. And then it looks like she wants to fuck Red. She's like, oh.
Why is that a good performance?
I just thought I was done at this point. Anything to make me laugh. Like,
right.
Do you want to talk about, I'm assuming the two scenes we were alluding, or whatever, other scenes?
Oh, Harrison Ford, when he's speaking to him, I liked on the ship. Because it's like him convincing him that like he should listen to. So like Sam's convincing Thunderbolt Ross that he should listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a good scene. There's bits with Isaiah that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
I think just about everything with Isaiah I liked.
Yeah, I agree. He's really good in this.
Yeah. Although actually, because now we can talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious that we have him sprinting to like when he leaves, he's like running. But it looks like an old man running. But this old man's supposed to be like super soldier serumed up. So I thought a better move would have been to just get someone to do that who was like in really good shape, and then have done like a 3D model CGI around his head, because it's like a wide shot, so it doesn't need to be him.
Is it not fun though that like even though he has the super soldier serum,
he still runs like an old
man?
Like he jumps out a window and
yeah,
lands fine,
and then
it's
lands.
a superhero landing, and then it's like,
I loved the editing. I have many grievances with. It's genuinely atrocious. But the edit from him doing the superhero landing to Sam jumping through and then going, and then walking down the stairs. Great.
I laughed.
Yeah.
I think they're like, I liked Anthony Mackie's quips in this. So like that's part of the things that like you didn't like, I think, is like, you know, when they're in like the boxing scene and they're just kind of like messing around. I really enjoyed that.
But I hated the way it was shot, so that took me out of it first and foremost.
I just liked seeing his like relationship with Isaiah and like training with him.
But like, what's his name?
The
Joaquin. That guy where he's like, oh, I didn't know you were taking me to see the OG, and then it's like all his old man stuff where he's like, you don't know how to use your phone. I'm like, shut up.
That's fair. I didn't, but that's quips from a different person. That's from Joaquin. I think the comedy they were trying with his character didn't work as well. But the stuff that came from Sam Wilson's mouth, I liked.
Okay.
I think his character's just kind of like established with a little bit of comedy.
He is, but he didn't feel like the same character to me for a lot of the scenes.
Interesting.
I don't know. The standout scenes for me with him were when Bucky shows up, and they have this like heart to heart, And then he also like just seems to like turn back into the Sam Wilson we knew. And I think that's when I was like, oh, that's what's not been working for me this entire time, is he doesn't feel the same. And then when he was with Bucky, he had this dynamic that was like, that's who you are, yeah.
Do you think that's because you see like a bit of vulnerability there from him? Because he's not putting on this face for everyone, and now that Bucky's in the room, he can kind of like unmask a bit.
But then the comedy there worked for me. Like, they were like having a laugh.
That didn't actually work for me as much.
Oh god, because is funny.
They undercut like a really nice moment with like Marvel humor.
Huh.
Yeah.
I just liked it because it's like, it felt like they knew who these characters were, and that like they were just continuing their relationship, and also felt like the first time that Sam became like Sam properly.
Sure.
And then the last scene with him and Joaquin, I thought was brilliant, and I was like, why didn't we get any more of this throughout the movie? Like, Joaquin gets hurt in the movie, if you are listening to this and haven't seen it, and he's lying in a hospital bed, and they just have this whole like, you're gonna be the next Falcon, blah blah blah, heart to heart.
It's like a really nice heart to heart that doesn't leave you feeling as impacted as you probably should. I think.
Yeah, no, totally. I think No Way Home has done a lot of damage to the MCU of these like, remember this character, as if that should like make a good movie or like pay off, because I swear the amount of times Harrison Ford goes like, oh, have you heard from Betty? My daughter Betty. Genuinely, it made me so annoyed. Yeah, establish that once for people who don't remember that you have a daughter named Betty because she's never came up in like any other movie. Stop saying, oh, have you heard from my daughter?
So, wait, what would you prefer?
I don't know.
That was like the driving thing for his character.
It was so annoying. Like, this thinly veiled thing of, we've seen this guy aggressive, like really aggressively push for, well, now we know, the presidency. And then like he gets the presidency and suddenly he's like, oh, now I need to care about my daughter. I just didn't like it.
Right.
And then fucking, what's her name? Is it Liv Tyler that plays Betty? I think so.
It's a lot of names here, and I don't see.
She probably won't show up because it'll be the cameo bit where they like try to hide it.
I honestly didn't think she'd be in this film.
No, neither did I, because you get a phone call.
Yeah, and you see pictures of her sitting there, so you know what she looks like and things. Which I suppose is supposed to be like a surprise when you do see her, but like you kind of just don't care.
But she walks in like fucking Andrew Garfield in No Way Home. You're like, you were in one movie.
It's almost been 20 years.
Yeah, I don't. Who cares? Also, she has no relationship to the Hulk at this point. Thought the Hulk was going to show up, not because of like, I need a cameo, but like,
I wondered, but then I thought they can't do that because that'll completely undercut Captain America.
This was a Hulk movie. You undercut him just by the writing. Like, it would have made sense to just stick the Hulk in, because why the fuck not?
Nah, because that becomes the classic thing of like
red v green, same thing.
Yeah, it's like the Iron Man, Ant-Man. It's the same formula all over again.
Yeah. So you either have that CW format where two things which are the same thing fight each other. You get this, which was like, I genuinely thought so.
This sun's getting real.
Yeah, I was like, you're not doing this. Red Hulk smashes and tears things up, and like, what is it that happened? Oh yeah, Sam's wings do this like Wakandan kinetic blast, and everybody's like destructive.
Awful looking CGI.
Awful. Then suddenly, Sam's under all this rubble. Every single side character shows up. Mind you, they are miles away from where every other character was.
Very, very confusing.
Miles. Also, Red Hulk, who is this giant beast, is also under rubble and somehow wakes up at the same time as Sam, a human, without the fucking serum. A human and this hulking monster wake up at the same time, and instead of this hulking monster, who's... Sorry, I'm getting really angry.
Go for it. Who cares?
You do! Instead of this hulking monster who his like prime directive is to kill Captain America and get all angry and shit. When he wakes up, he allows Sam to just walk up to him and be like, hey, remember your daughter. Fuck off. Like, no. Just annoyed me. The entire build-up was fucking Liv Tyler. Like, I granted, they didn't do the sun's getting low, big guy. Like, thank fuck. But it was very marginally close, and it was genuine, like that CW, the Flash thing of
talking as well of the.
You can do it by being kind. What? Also, this leads me into something that I can't wait to talk to you about. The movie makes no sense. And it makes no sense because of the whole fucking Hulk thing at the end, and that just adds on to this. You have a villain that has mind control, yeah? Mm-hmm. And the one scene you kind of see of him telling Harrison Ford is kill Captain America. Why doesn't he kill Captain America at the end? He's been brainwashed. We've been told that mind control is real.
Yeah. I think
his daughter just like penetrated his brain and like.
I don't think I think the implication there was like that he didn't brainwash him the same way that the others were brainwashed, where it was like, you need to do this thing. It's like he was talking him up into turning into the Hulk.
Okay. Let's go with that.
So, which it still doesn't make sense because you would just brainwash him.
Because you would just brainwash him. The movie, right? I hate them bringing up CW's The Flash so much, but there's a season 4, I think, that has the Thinker, who is ostensibly the same character as whatever the fuck.
Because it's all probability and stuff.
It's all probability. Yeah. And in that, it's kind of smart, and that I say kind of. That show is not good, but you string along this season of events happen because somebody is like stacked dominoes up to all fall in place. Mm-hmm. This movie wanted that. And I do wonder if, like, the original draft of the script, it was that. But I'm struggling to see that because I don't know how reshoots can just corrupt the fabric of a movie. But, like, everything that happened with this guy being like, oh, there's 77% chance of this happening. Why?
Great question.
Thank you. Why do you do any of it? I get that it's just, like, probability and whatever. But why did Isaiah go to like do this and all this blah 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 blah? The movie poses it's because he wants to get Harrison Ford angry and turn to the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Why do you need to go through all these hoops? Why? And then also, why do you care about Captain America? There's no friction between these characters. It would be interesting if it was the Hulk and he is frustrated because the Hulk's blood got into him and he is angry at both Thaddeus Ross for trapping him for decades with the carrot on the stick that once he becomes the president he'll be let out, and also he could then still have this resentment towards Bruce because Bruce's blood got into him and caused him to be in this situation. So there is this like, I want you to take him down. I want his reputation to be ruined, and I want Hulk to die. But instead Captain America's here for no reason.
I don't think the being annoyed at Bruce Banner thing would work because like that's just like a circumstantial thing that happened. Like he chose to help Bruce Banner, so I think it would be stupid on his character's part to be like annoyed at Bruce Banner.
Sure.
Because that is a very like villain thing that does happen in other films where like villain's angry at character, but character did nothing wrong.
Sure.
And if the villain was like the Thinker, I feel like he'd like be aware enough of that. The whole thing with like how does this plot string together, it doesn't. I think you just have to kind of assume that the Thinker knows how it strings together, and that's how the dominoes fall into place. I think Captain America is just there because he's there. Like he gets in the way, I think, and that's why he's just like never like the Thinker. I think just doesn't care about dealing with Captain America, like killing Captain. I mean, he goes kill Captain America, but that's more on Thunderbolt Ross. Like he's trying to ruin his reputation.
Yeah.
I think it could have been any other character and he would have went kill that character, which makes it not a Captain
when this
America.
movie's a Captain America movie and the main character is Thaddeus Ross.
I do think that isn't necessarily a bad thing if it was just like implement character here, as long as we had a Captain America story in there that was like because obviously you were talking about Winter Soldier where there's like this internal struggle for Steve Rogers. There was no internal struggle, I don't think, for Sam Wilson in this film.
I mean, Isaiah, I guess, like this.
Yeah, but that wasn't even like an internal struggle. That was like
exactly.
he knew
It's
what he
completely
had to do because he knew what was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating. How you were kind of saying you have to just go, oh, the thinker, whatever. I love that we're just calling him that.
Is that his name? What the hell?
I don't know what his name is. Like his like villain name. I don't think they ever name him. Do they?
Yeah. So
Probability Man.
His name in, because they've got it in quotes here, his name in Incredible Hulk, I don't know if you remember, is Mr. Blue.
Oh.
So they have that there, but also his name's the Leader.
Oh, so it is.
Did they say that in the film?
No, I don't think so.
The only time he names himself is like, you don't get it yet. I'm the hero.
Again, that was just one of these like Chat GPT fucking ass lines to just fill out the movie.
Yep.
Jesus. The writing. When you look at... I think you're quite lucky to have the Captain America trilogy. Not really the first one, but the second and third. Be these like political movies. I don't know if you would agree with this, but I think this is a bad superhero movie, or bland, I guess, with like this skin of a political thriller over it. Like, they want so badly for this to be a political thriller. You can see it in the marketing of the trailers and shit. You can feel it when you're in the movie, but there's absolutely nothing like politically thrilling about this movie. Like the whole what's going on, who's pulling the strings. Now we can say you see a shot of the Leader in the first 5 minutes. You see that room that he's in, like, so you know that's the guy. And I kind of thought maybe they were going to do something interesting of like someone close to Thaddeus Ross was leaking information or blah 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 whatever. It's just Thaddeus, and you know him to be villainous, and you know something's up because he's taking those pills like really early on in the movie, so you know, like,
I thought it was going to be the lollipop. Because the first thing they show is the lollipop, and I was like, oh, is he just having like lollipops all the time?
Gamma lollipops.
Like, yeah, that have something to... I thought it was going to be the other way around, where like he knew he was the Red Hulk and he was suppressing it. But they did the opposite thing of like, he didn't know that this was going to happen.
Sure.
And like it was building up towards it.
But none of, like, that's not that's not enough to like build this like intrigue. Also, like, they posit that the what was her name? The Israeli woman, Ruth. They posit that like she could be bad at one point.
Do they?
Well, kind of, because like that when the whole like or not bad, like opposing Sam.
Oh yeah, that actually is really funny. That is terrible writing.
It's
they do like a 5-minute segment of her being after Sam and then realizing that she shouldn't be after Sam
because her and Joaquin are looking at the same footage.
Yeah.
So then you as the audience know, oh right.
Yeah. The yeah, it would have been better for them to just kind of like not do that in the first place, because they've obviously built her to be a smart enough character that she's not just going to be fooled, because she like is smart enough to go and like figure this thing out for herself.
Yeah.
So she finds out within like 2 minutes that it's not that they're not the bad guys, and then she's like on their team.
Yeah. And they build it up like you should be like feeling tense because she's at the prison when he's visiting Isaiah, and she's like, get me what they talked about. That was
Is that that's Scarlet Witch?
That I was gonna say you did not see that coming. That's not even her. I'm not a monster, Stephen. I'm a mother. She's like, get me what they talked about. So you're like, oh, she's like properly gonna be antagonistic against them. And as you say, the next scene you see her in is like, oh, I'm wrong. Cool, great. Yeah, and then I was thinking about Civil War, and that being this really interesting political movie, because unlike, I feel like this is more akin to Winter Soldier, or they want to be akin to Winter Soldier, where it's like there's this conspiracy and you're trying to figure it out. Which also, on that note, I really thought that the woman who Sam talks to, like Thaddeus Ross's assistant, he has like assistant in the White House who kind of like shepherds Sam around.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna be some like, she was like leaking Harris. She was like this middleman that was leaking stuff. No, just a person. But Civil War is political in a different way, where like you're given two ideologies and you are supposed to like choose what side you feel like.
Team Cap, Team Iron Man.
Yeah. This doesn't even have anything like that, and I mean, not that they could do something like that, but you could try and posit that like Ross is doing something for.
Yeah, it's like when you watch like Infinity War and Thanos like makes these points about like trying to like save the universe and things, and you're like, oh, in his mind, like that's how that like he like makes arguments, whereas like Thunderbolt Ross is just kind of like, I'm the bad guy.
Also, the whole like plot about adamantium, I think super interesting on paper, because in this movie he's like, welcome everybody, we're gonna talk about what Celestial Island. Over the years we've been like fighting and blah blah blah, and vibranium's there, and that's held by a nation. They're not sharing it. But we have something stronger. And also, I actually wonder if it is stronger, or if that's just the American way of just going like, we've got something better over here, and it's actually not.
It actually might be stronger in the comments.
Oh, really?
But that is like a funny like Donald Trump.
It's quite cool. Yeah. But then he goes, adamantium. They then never explain what it is. They just go, it's a metal and it's strong. Like, I just wish there was a little bit more of...
I don't know if they have to with that.
But it'd be interesting. He's at this summit and they're like, oh, Wakanda has got all these technological developments. Here's what we could do with this. Like, we want to usher in the future with this. I just find the whole thing so boring.
He does get shot.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, what is the implication in that scene that he does get shot? He takes the bullet.
No, so they don't even really expand on this. When Sam sees the footage,
he goes like, "Oh, he's in his crosshairs."
Like he should have got him.
Yeah.
And I think the implication is that like Isaiah resisted or something and like missed.
I couldn't tell what the implication was.
I don't know.
Because I thought the implication was that Harrison Ford took the bullet and then lied about it because someone goes like, "Did you get shot?" And he was like, "No." Mm-hmm. But then that can't be the implication because he didn't know he was the Red Hulk. So he wouldn't be trying to hide that. So it does have to be that Isaiah like...
Oh, on purpose. That does make sense. Do you know what really was weird though? Was the music playing? I get it. Like, that's how he mind controls. Yeah. But see, in that scene specifically, everything breaks out. And then you hear the music as like oh, that's probably what caused it. But like...
Oh, you didn't hear the music before the stuff kicked off?
Oh no, does it go off?
Yeah.
All right.
Because I was like...
I'm an idiot.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's like a little conference where you'd expect there to be music in the background.
Oh sure, maybe that's why it
doesn't fit. Huh. So it was like really fucking with my brain when it happened, and I couldn't figure out what was happening until they go afterwards. They go like, "Oh, the music did it," and I was like, "Oh, that's why I was like confused."
Weird.
Yep.
Do you have anything more to say about this movie? I
Not
feel like
really.
I could go on and on. If you've seen any of the trailers, you've seen the movie. I think that was the annoying thing. But you were saying you enjoyed the first third.
Yeah, not the first third.
Sorry.
Up until the White House, I was quite enjoying it.
Until the plot kicks in.
Yeah, all of the like kind of like just like establishing like this is where we are right now. Like I quite enjoyed.
I thought the last third was the most enjoyable because it was the only thing. Like, you sit through this bad political thriller that I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in anything that's going on. The action scenes, guess we not mentioned this. I think they're all atrocious, apart from the Hulk scene. Because they're edited to shit.
I don't think the Hulk scene was good. I liked seeing them at like Celestial Island, like the jets going around, then like trying to...
I wish it was edited less.
Cool. That's, yeah. I think as a set piece, that's more interesting than like Cherry Blossoms, Hulk, and the White House. Seeing the White House as an action set piece, sick of it. Mm-hmm. There's too many films that have the White House as a set piece.
But they said Cherry Blossoms. Come on now. Genuine question though. When you say that, it's a more interesting set piece, I agree. On paper, it's more interesting because we're getting to see what's happening with this Celestial now. But do you think that was actually utilised well? I just thought we were there for a little and there was one shot that looked kind of cool.
And that's what I was saying. Like, it feels like because on paper it's in a more interesting set piece. Like it should have been more of like the finale to the film. Also, that's like when he was trying to get him to turn to Red Hulk. Like it kind of felt like you were coming to the end of something, and then
Yeah, someone gets hurt. Joaquin, like,
it's.
oh, also sorry, that whole scene of like, the nations are at odds with each other. How are we going to resolve that all these nations were like fighting? We'll do it by news report at the end where they go, everybody's happy and this is moving forward and we're all sharing shit. Fuck off! Like, genuinely! Ugh! The title card for this movie is Brave New World.
Yeah.
Not Captain America Brave New World. And I think that says a lot.
Damn.
It's not a Captain America movie. It's fucking bland political thriller.
And on that note...
the end credits scene.
How does he know?
Because the probabilities are...
But like, how does he know? Has he done the Vision thing where, you know, like in Civil War, Vision's sitting there, it's like, since Tony Stark announced himself as Iron Man in 2008, there has been like an increase in like all of these events. Like that's a line from like Vision in Civil War. That is like Vision arguing for the Sokovia Accords. Is the leader, the thinker, on like the same line where he's just like, probably like the events keep getting bigger, so surely we're going to have a multiversal event.
Who knows? It makes no sense. But thank fuck they didn't kill him off and we've got him in the raft.
Do you think... I remember seeing him behind the scenes talk about how he wanted it not to be CGI, he wanted the thing on his head. And
okay,
I feel like I remember him talking about the weight of it. The way that character looks in the comics is like a massive head, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that was also a reshoot? Do you think they changed the design of the character?
Oh.
Because like...
Oh, it could be because, I mean, he's not... I fully think that army man that gets killed is part of the reshoots.
Right.
And they added in that whole army section. Because I think the first scene feels filler. And then every time those like army people come back, it feels filler. Because...
The first scene, to be fair, is where they establish that nobody around them has been brainwashed. Because they play the music. The first scene that the army man's in. That like, he's like...
Oh, wait, that's the second scene. That's the second scene, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't remember him the first scene.
It's just that, like, the hostage thing and Sam's fighting to save the hostages. Yeah. I hate this movie.
Damn, you don't want the hostages to be saved.
Sorry, I really shouldn't follow that up with that. Sam fucking Wilson, man. I'm just shocked that this is getting the reception it is.
The worst one out of the way this year, though. Like,
we hope. Fuck me. If anything is worse than this, oof. Oof, oof, oof. I was very quickly going to say, the shred of okayness in this movie is that it's moving the plot of the MCU forward.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like, as a film, that doesn't impact the enjoyment of the film, but part of the wider universe, cool, you're starting to do stuff. I guess, we keep talking about this, sorry, it's me, but I have questions. Do you think Captain America, Sam Wilson, from this movie, from what you've seen, is a good choice to lead the Avengers? Are you excited about him leading the Avengers?
I'm excited about him putting them together. I'm not so sure about leading the Avengers. I don't know.
That's how I feel.
I'd like him to have like another film before he got into that. As a duo, because I think were they not want to kind of do like this and like Captain Marvel or something. I feel like that is quite interesting.
So do I, and I feel like if they characterize them as we know them to be, so Sam from like everything bar this, and Captain Marvel from the Marvels.
Yeah,
I think they could have an interesting like dynamic that is kind of at odds.
And then Bucky in the background. Bucky has to be there. I know that he's not going to.
Well, he's leading the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, but hopefully they get to like.
I assume that they're going to be like the Dark Avengers by the end of it.
Yeah, but in the Avengers movie,
you think Bucky comes with his squad?
Yeah, they're going to show up.
Oh wait, that'd be kind of fun.
Maybe the second one. That probably won't be the first one.
Chances of that movie being good.
Thunderbolts.
Sure that or Avengers is what I was getting at, but
50.
For what?
50%.
For what movie?
Avengers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a mess.
I could be.
And I think they're probably going to do the... Actually, they might just do the smart thing and just make it a complete, like, Doctor Doom story.
Mm-hmm.
Which is smart because we haven't established everybody enough to, like, do an Avengers movie. Who knows? Well, that was Captain America Brave New World. If you've seen it, let us know your thoughts.
They're probably not very different.
I don't know. Some people are really enjoying this.
Even on my letterbox from like following like the nerds of TikTok, like they're not rating it that highly.
Yeah.
It says a lot, I think.
I'm quite happy with who I follow on Letterboxd, considering I think it just ranges from 2 to 3 stars.
Yeah. Mine's ranges from 1.5 to 3.
Who's the 1.5?
There's 2 of you actually,
Oh.
but yeah, you are 1.5.
Oh, I guess because you were talking about ratings last time. If you want to give a rating, I rated this 1.5 out of 5.
I'd give it like a 2 or 2.5. I'm not that low on it, but again, I think it's just like bad, boring.
That I think sometimes rubs me the wrong way.
Right.
Like as a personal preference to stuff, I would rather watch Ant-Man Quantumania than this because there's just more like interesting stuff going on.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd is great in that movie because he's still Ant-Man. Well, he's just Paul Rudd. Like, yeah, I could go into Ant-Man. But
Jack. I must have been you recording.
I am.
We're going to talk about Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy.
What?
Oh my god. This is the 4th installment in the Bridget Jones franchise. It's now been an 8-year gap? No, 9-year gap since the last one.
Jeez,
The last one's a 2016 film. Crazy, I know.
Wow, yeah.
On Letterboxd it says, Discord should start off with. Bridget Jones finally has some luck in her life. She has a great job as a screenwriter, family, and a new boyfriend. The fact that he's over 20 years her junior isn't the only thing causing problems. I think the way that this film has been marketed and like summarized there is so interesting compared to like what this film actually is.
Yeah, so do I. Do you want to quickly start with our history of Bridget Jones?
Our history.
Our collective history.
Our collective history of Bridget Jones.
Yeah.
I'll run through mine. They're similar anyway.
Yeah.
I'd never seen Bridget Jones up until a few weeks ago. I watched the first one, and then literally I watched half of the second one earlier in the week, and then watched 2.5 Bridget Jones films over the last like 3 days. Because I watched half of one on Thursday night, the third one on Friday, and then the fourth one on Saturday. Not a particular like fan of this franchise. I don't think the films are particularly good. Mm-hmm. The first one's, I think, definitely the strongest of the 3. I freaking love this film. I really enjoyed this film. Mm-hmm. I think this is the best of the franchise, by like a country mile.
I would agree. I watched the first 3 over the last few months, and I have very similar opinions. Yeah. I actually think one's strong. I think one's a solid rom-com. Mm-hmm. And I think what maintains throughout the first 3 is she's a fun character.
Yes.
Even if the writing of her is sometimes demeaning in those movies, she still maintains like a fun side to her.
She's like joyous. There's like all this bad stuff going on around her, but she's kind of like this kind of like shining light in all of those films.
They don't age well.
No, the first one especially does not age well.
Yes, which is so weird because you kind of like write that off because the rest of the movie's kind of good around it, whereas the other 2, they don't have that to like back themselves up, I guess. It's strange to me that the third one is still as like hasn't aged well as it is, considering it's actually quite modern.
What happens in that film that doesn't?
It's still the main thing is her weight. Like
that is a thing that like kept coming up in that film, and I was like, that's such an interesting like. What it comes up like 5 times. You mention her weight in that film, and it's just really odd. What I specifically in this film, you mentioned that the kind of like her character's written in like a demeaning way in a lot of the other films. This one, you get to see her be a good journalist.
Yeah.
Which I think is so interesting because I didn't know that's who her character was supposed to be, because none of the other films showed that. All of her work is kind of just ignored, I think, in the first two. From what I can remember.
It's used for comedy though. Like, she's a reporter. I think in the second, like, she's shoved out of an airplane.
Right.
Or
the third one.
Yeah, she's the producer.
She's the producer. She's giving good questions, but that gets undercut by the fact that she's on like a phone call and she's speaking,
Yes.
and then again they do it for comedy. So it just seems like she's a bit of a klutz in all of these situations with her job. In the fourth one, there's that specific scene where she's on the phone. She has absolutely no notes to go off of, and she tells the interviewer like what to ask.
She's called up by her friend
Yes.
because they're like, she used to be a producer for this network. She's now not there, and her friend calls her up being like, they're all useless here. Can you give me questions?
And she does it all off the top of her head.
Yeah.
And it shows how like brilliant she actually is.
Yeah.
And I don't think the other films actually show
No, and it's proof that you can be endearing in not a demeaning way.
Yeah.
To someone, I love this movie as well.
Yeah.
Shocked as well, because I haven't particularly liked the franchise, but I like her as a character. Mm-hmm. I saw this with my nana, and right before it started, she was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard this one's supposed to be like sad and funny," and I was like, "Oh okay." I was aware, this is not a spoiler, it's in the marketing, that like Mr. Darcy is dead in this. Her husband passed away, who's been in the like previous trilogy. The first 20 minutes of this movie are like a perfect tone setter.
Yeah.
The splash card for like Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy happens about 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
And the first 20 minutes is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a perfect tone of like somberness and sadness and joyousness and like
it's exceptional.
Like optimism. I genuinely, we got to the splash screen and I was like, is this like really good? Is this going to be really, really good?
Yeah.
Those first 20 minutes, the movie picks up 4 years after her husband passed away, and it's the anniversary. And it starts on that day, basically the feelings that are like bubbling up within her, and her realizing she has to turn over a new leaf. And when you get the splash card, it's like she picks up her diary again, and then the movie like sets sail. But in those first 20 minutes, there was like actual pieces of writing that I was like, if this was in like an indie past lives kind of movie, it would be getting acclaim. Like there's a moment where she's like walking and she sees Mr. Darcy, I think this is in the trailer as well, like it's a vision, and they're walking up to a door together, and then when the door opens, Mr. Darcy's not there. She's like narrating it, because that's what these movies are. It's like she's narrating like a diary, and it's something like, oh, life has its white notes, and every now and again there's black notes, and this was a really bad black note. There was more eloquent than that. But I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. And every time, because that whole thing of like someone being there that isn't like fading away because they're dead is a trope.
Yeah.
Every time they use it in this film,
oh my
it's
god,
used masterfully.
It's so good.
It's fantastic.
I'm shocked. It's actually shocking, and it just still strikes that balance of like sadness, but then also being super super funny, even in those first 20 minutes, which
this
are
is the funniest
saddest.
one.
It's the funniest movie, and guess what? You don't have to be like haha fat.
Yeah, there can be like actual comedy.
Actual comedy. Like situational humor. It's just funny. The biggest compliment I can give this movie is that like everybody felt real. Yeah. There was still those like outlandish, like goofier moments, like
stuff that you would pull from the 2000s.
Yeah, like the fucking toy boy guy diving into the pool to save a puppy.
Yeah,
funny.
And then we're just like
oogling like, hello, keep the shirt off.
Yes.
Like
all that stuff.
Yeah, but like because you've built up such goodwill around it, those scenes are like these like little like respites of like joyousness, you know?
In between the grief. This film is a film about grief.
Yeah.
And it's
a comedy.
Yeah.
It's actually nuts.
I was actually blown away by it.
Yeah, same. I currently have this rated in my top 3 of the year so far, which I know sounds stupid because like we're in February,
But there's been a lot.
but we had a lot of awardsy movies because we're in the UK. Like, this is seriously a good movie.
Yeah, the marketing and the title doesn't do it justice.
Sure, yeah. But I guess I know why they've marketed it that way.
Oh yeah, because it draws on all the people that like the Bridget Jones films, and then you get this gut punch of a film.
Yeah.
The film was shot really nicely.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. There is one shot of balloons.
Yeah.
Man, like, actually, I cried. Again,
I cried at this film.
I not saying much, but like, yeah, I cried twice. I actually, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And the like framing of her, do you know what I loved is that she's a mother in this, and they don't diminish that side of her, and they also don't diminish the side that she's still like this sexual being who's like dealing with this grief inside and like not knowing how to play, like where to place her love. But like her scenes with her kids, I thought sometimes it can toe the line of being annoying when you have child actors and like someone as great as Renée Zellweger trying to deal with child actors. They were great.
The kids were cast really well.
Incredible.
Like brilliant. Like I can't remember the kids' names.
No, neither.
But the boy, like all the stuff that he had to deliver, fantastic. And the girl, they did the brilliant thing of like they're cast at different ages. So the boy's like the one that's kind of actually dealing with a lot of the grief.
Yeah. And
the girl's too young, where she's just kind of like looking for a new dad. So like you get to see like both, like the way it affects like three different people in three different ways. And both of them are cast really well, because like the little girl just has like kind of the comedy moments and comes out with like some fantastic lines that are delivered really well.
I think a scene that exemplifies like the perfect balance of this is very early on, first 20 minutes, when she's going to remember, I guess, his like anniversary. That scene where like she turns up and he's not there, he disappears, whatever. She's sitting, and it's an homage to like the first movie where all these people are around this like fancy dinner table, and at that one it's like, oh, Bridget, like, what boy are you seeing, and like whatever, and they're all making fun of her weight. It's so funny because her narration is like all this sadness about grieving and like knowing when to move on, and it's been a while and blah blah blah, and then you have all these arseholes questioning her.
Yeah.
It's just really funny. Like,
I liked the comedy in this film where like every time we get a new one, it shifts with like what's happening in the real world. Like it shifts with the time. So like the third one had the her diary is like on her laptop. It's like she's writing on her laptop, and then so she's writing in her diary again in this one. I was like, that's funny, because like even like subtly, because we've kind of flipped back the way where it's like cool to be like writing things on paper again. Like there's like an aesthetic to it, and
that's fun.
Yeah, and like her friend, the one that had like the one single that was popular, coming back because it was in a 30-second video that made it pop off again. Yeah. Fantastic. Her other friend, who like I think has a podcast and just like just rant, and she just rants about stuff. Like I like how it like always kind of shifts with the times.
Very British humor as well, which I love. Yeah. Do you know, I found out this is not getting a cinema release in the States.
I think you told me this.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I only found this out a few days ago.
Someone told me this.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going straight on a streaming platform, and I'm like, that's so upsetting, because it's genuinely like I imagine this would be great in a crowd. I saw it in a very empty cinema, but
mine was really busy. I had a lot of laughter. There was a really good cinema experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because people probably are going in just for a laugh, and then to be like, you know, like misdirected, I guess. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I really like this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also would like to say that sorry, I guess we've been talking about one side of the plot. The other side of the plot where she's mad about the boy.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how that was going to fit in. It fits in really well, because you have their kids are dealing with their new daddy, and sorry, the word daddy.
I think that actual like the mad about the boy bit is more kind of towards like the second act of the story, and it just all fits really well. But it's just funny that it's kind of contained to that portion, and that's like what the film is named as, but you obviously can't be like Bridget Jones, the one about grief. So like,
I like how that plays into the plot though, where she's in the relationship with the younger guy, which also great. Cinema's like, yeah, older women can get younger men, and we're all fine with that. I think that's cool, but it's not on her. This like, I'm dealing with dating a younger person. It's on him that he's struggling with dealing with dating an older woman. And the resolution, I won't spoil it, but the scene that they resolve their relationship, I guess, I thought was really, really good. Like, I thought it was written really well.
yeah,
And then that scene, it kind of, the movie plays out, and then it comes back around, the whole concept that they talk about. I thought it was beautiful, like the way they were talking about it. How like, people can still love, like just like different shades of love. Do you know? It's not like monolithic. I don't know. It was just interesting.
yeah.
The bit that was like, is the relationship, the other relationship.
Oh really?
I will say, I was until like the last 20 minutes.
Oh,
does
sure.
a lot of heavy lifting where I was like, okay, this
I think it's
is
kind of
interesting.
supposed to be like that though, right? Like it's like
Yes.
this very background thing. It's kind of like classic.
You'd never assume it's him.
Yeah, yeah. This film has a lot of like homages to the previous films.
Mm-hmm.
The one I noticed specifically is like the jumper at the end of the film.
Oh,
The boy's wearing Mark Darcy's jumper. The person I saw it with mentioned that the cocktails at the start of the
Yes,
film
that's
are the
what I
same
thought
shade
you were
of
gonna-
blue
yeah.
as I hadn't noticed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same shade as blue as is it soup?
Yeah, the soup.
Yeah, that's like blue in the first film.
The cut straight to like, it's like a top-down shot of the 4 glasses clinking. I chuckled. I was like, oh. Because the way they like leave a function or whatever to go do their own thing, and I straight up thought they went to make blue soup. I was like, oh.
This film has an excellent like array of side characters. Like
They're,
you bring them all
great,
back
yeah.
from the previous films, and like Emma Thompson, brilliant.
Those
the fact
scenes
that
are
they chose to
great.
bring her back.
So good. I'm a gynecologist.
Yeah, kind of loosely written in as well, because like you wouldn't be able to do that in real life.
I
Like
love
just
it.
go see the gynecologist about every other fucking thing under
But
the
they're
sun.
friends.
But like yeah, but it's just like this funny thing of like
Don't tell me I need to have sex. Oh God, no.
she's like she mentions the lips being at the wrong end.
Yeah. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's just a funny fucking
Yeah.
movie.
This is the line about labial adhesion in this
Yeah.
film.
It's so good.
It's a brilliantly funny film that's also really deep.
Yep.
And like I feel like I've had a 1-2 punch of having seen We Live in Time like right at the start of the year, and then seeing this. I didn't realize Leo Woodall being like another thing about
Oh
grief
yeah.
that is seen so quickly in succession to one day.
He read the script and he was like, I can do that. Yeah, I highly recommend this. I recommend this if you've not seen any of the others.
Oh yeah, I don't think you need to.
Nope. And I think it's a solid comedy. Like, maybe the best comedy. No, I would say A Real Pain.
Which I haven't seen.
But, like, one of the best comedies come out in a while, I would say.
This film is, I mean, it's definitely the best film I've seen this week.
Not hard.
This year, well, I saw The Brutalist. That was very good.
I have The Brutalist and A Real Pain over this.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That makes sense. Because I can't think of another. We Live in Time.
Oh, that's a this year movie for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I preferred this to Nosferatu, to Baby
Oh,
Girl,
yeah,
to, like,
100%.
all these movies. I'm like, a Bridget Jones movie? This might end up in my, like, top, however, movies. Yeah, I genuinely loved it.
That's really funny. I hope it does.
So do I.
Like, I hope it's that good. I hope, like, on a rewatch it's that good as well.
It's just endearing. I wonder if this will work outside of Britain. I feel like sometimes there are these movies that just, like, really hit a British audience. Like the humor, the way that friends talk, the way that like people handle situations, it is very British.
It was so good that by the end of it, I was like, oh, if they made another one this good, I'd like it.
Oh no.
And then they showed the credits, and I was like, oh, this is the finale.
Yeah.
But I just thought, before going into the reason I thought that was before going into this one, I was like, why are they making a new one?
Of course,
because the third one's treated as like a finale.
Yeah. Felt the same way.
Yeah. But this one deserves to be the
this
finale.
This is the Toy Story 4 of the Bridget Jones universe.
I don't know about that one.
Yep, we're going with that. Get on the posters,
Because
baby.
Toy Story 3 and 4 were good movies, where just 4 was a good movie.
Fair. Yeah, okay. Yeah, loved it.
Yeah. The specifically the spoiler thing that I want to speak about.
Oh yeah.
Was that her dad isn't in this film.
Oh my god.
That's part of the grief, is she's also having to deal with, that's not like a massive thing in the film, but like obviously if you had like a double whammy of grief, it all kind of like blends into each other in real life. So obviously she's gonna have that in the back of her mind in the film, and it is the thing that spurs on her like newfound energy, I guess, at the beginning of the film. Her trying to like get her life back. And it's such a great scene.
I loved it.
Yeah.
That got me. I was like, oh, I'm in. The waters are flowing.
When you first see the photo of her and her dad, I was like, did he pass away in real life? And then obviously he didn't. And I was like, oh. It's such a good way of doing, like, I'm not a massive fan of just like killing off characters. When I saw the trailer for this one, and then I've finished the third one, which was, they were like after each other for me. I was like, why would they bother killing off Mark Darcy? And then you're like, oh, it really works because a lot of the times what happens in films, if they've been running for a while, is like a character or a person, will die off in real life, so they have to kill off the character in a film or whatever. Doesn't really quite hit as hard. Whereas if you do it like this, you can do all of those like special scenes where you have a flashback to them like on their deathbed, or you can have like Mark Darcy being like a kind of like ghost in someone's brain. So yeah, I just love this film. I love this film.
The scene, because we're in spoilers this a little bit, I guess. The scene where what's his character name? Mr. whatever the fuck.
Mr. Williker?
Mr. Williker. When her son performs and she gets to talk to him. Like, I wasn't completely sold on the relationship when they go on that expedition.
Not exposition, that was Captain America.
Yes. Nice. I kind of felt it a bit, but the scene where she's like, it's a phenomenal piece of acting where she's just like, thank you. Like, I've not been able to like put this into words, and like you've given so much to my son, and like she really is like exclaiming all this stuff. I was like, oh my god. She suddenly felt like a weight. You felt like you were watching a woman lift a weight off her chest, and actually feel like freer and lighter, and it was beautiful. So
yeah, they have that scene around the campfire where they just cut away after he was like, tell me something that you really
I was like confused,
and then they pay it off with the performance.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and who doesn't love a British accent? Renée Zellweger, not British. Did you know that?
I actually did, because I seen her in like interviews, and it really confused the
hell out of me. It's crazy. Yeah.
Which then kind of makes you wonder, like, why is this not getting like an American release and stuff?
She's not American, I don't think.
Is she not?
Is she not Aussie?
She should be.
Oh, maybe she is. No, she is American. No, you're right.
Yeah, she's American.
Yeah. To end this episode, I guess, we'll just do a rapid fire, because we've been going so long. We'll do a rapid fire what we've been watching.
And then a question.
And then a question. I forgot about a question. You're on it. Did you watch anything good this week, Owen?
I watched Severance last night. So that was great. I mean, when's that show not good? Aside from that, I think I literally like saw 3 films of Severance. I don't think I've sorry. I watched a bunch of Bridget Jones. We watched a film on Monday that we're going to record for a following podcast.
Ooh, spoilers.
But yeah, I've not watched like a lot of TV and stuff. So
that was so rapid fire.
Yeah.
I finished my Severance rewatch and I caught all the way up, baby. It's so good.
I know.
It's so good. I don't think it was as high. I think because everybody built it up on episode 4 than everybody was. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but
I think it's just really different.
I also knew the thing
that
I think made people go like, oh, I was like, it's painfully obvious. Sorry.
I to be fair, I think everyone
sort
of saw it coming, or at least was questioning it, because even if you couldn't see the signs, you couldn't not question it based on like the first episode.
What's Irving's line? Yes, Seth, turn her back, or whatever the fuck he says. His line deliveries in that episode.
Turn off the Glasgow block. Little like Scotland Easter egg in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
I can now speak to you about my theories about like what the company's for.
Which I guess we'll do off.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I also have a theory as well.
Interesting.
And it keeps adding up. So I'm like, I hope I'm onto something. Bit interesting. That show's so good. Also, what's her name? Britt Lauer? Fuck me. Given such a good performance. Helly is like one of the most interesting characters I think I've ever seen on TV. Like, granted, she has a foot up on other characters because she's 2 characters. But the like dichotomy that is going on between her and like, not spoiling it, like what Helena does to like, and what that reflects on her and like how she feels and like intimacy and stuff, I think is so interesting. But when episode 5 starts, and Helly comes down the elevator, I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
I continued watching Spider-Man, which I'm assuming you haven't.
Haven't got around to watching Spider-Man.
That's fine. We'll be fully recapping it next week. That's our thing next week. But these 3 episodes are great.
Cool.
I'd say they're more in line with the first 2. I think we were...
Yeah, because
we enjoyed the second bit, but...
Yeah, we both enjoyed it, but I wasn't as big a fan of the second chunk as the first chunk.
The third chunk's great. There is a music cue that goes off that I was like, no, you're what? And then they deliver on the music cue. I was like, oh my god!
Not to swing back to Bridget Jones, but the needle drops in Bridget Jones. This one,
they're always
so much
great,
better than like the third one. The third one was constant needle drops.
Oh my god!
Like unnecessary.
One of the best jokes, because you reminded me. There's a Glass Animals song in there, and I was like,
I thought it was a Glass Animals
nice. It's a scene where her and Leo are like having sex, and he goes up and whispers in her ear, "Oh, you make me so hard," and she goes, "Oh,
you make me
you
hard.
make me hard."
And then he goes,
"What?" And then it cuts. It's so funny.
It's really funny.
That whole thing of like underpinning like grief or like sex with comedy, they do it so well.
Yeah.
A lot of good British artists in this one specifically. Yeah. But the music cue in this.
In Spider-Man.
Yeah. There's a ton of revelations with characters that I find really interesting, and now you're starting to get, which it sucks because there's only 2 more episodes, but I know it's been renewed for seasons. You're starting to get more of like the internal struggles that other characters are going through, not just Peter and Tombstone, can't remember, Lonnie. So like you're exploring more Nico and Lonnie's girlfriend, can't remember her name, whatever. I tried. Yeah, I'm super excited where it's going, and it ends on like a really cool, like, interesting place. Anyway,
cool.
And I watched, if you haven't seen this show, because I feel like nobody has, Big Boys season 3.
I saw your story, and I was like, you didn't mention to me once that this show was airing. Like, I didn't know this show was on.
I haven't seen you since.
Wait, did the show just drop?
The show dropped on Sunday.
The whole season?
Or Saturday, the whole season.
Why did they not release it like...
So you can do that on all 4, or if you're watching on Channel 4, you can watch it week to week.
That's a weird choice.
A lot of those like British channels do that. They just drop everything, but if you're watching live, it's week to week.
So like if you're like an old man...
Yeah. This show continues to be the most underrated show ever. It's finished now, and I can safely say it's up there with like Fleabag and stuff. I kind of thought, why are they making a third season? I was actually like confused. I think the second season ends perfectly, whatever. Oh my god.
How many times did you cry?
Not as many as the first two. And I was actually a little confused because the first few episodes I'm like, oh, this is solid. And then it takes a turn as it goes on. And you learn why. So the main character, Jack, you kind of don't follow him a lot this season. And I was like, that's a really odd choice. It pays off. And the final episode is gorgeous. It's this weird blend of fiction and non-fiction that's genuinely like one of the best episodes of British TV I think I've seen. That's maybe hyperbolic. It's very good. But that episode reframes the entire show that I think if I went back and rewatched it, I would cry more. It's like devastatingly beautiful. If you don't know what the show is, it's like a gay guy and a straight guy go to uni together, and they don't have accommodation for them, so they get shoved in this like shed.
Yeah.
By like the Brent uni like counselor or whatever. They're like, well, look, we found you a place, and they go through uni together. That is it. It is just a tale of like friendship and grief and just like love. It's honestly gorgeous.
Those are like half-hour episodes, right?
They're like 20 minutes.
Might watch that today.
Genuinely. 6 episodes, 20 minutes a piece. It's very Fleabaggy.
Yeah.
But I was actually floored by it because I was like, just leading up to it, I was like, this is solid. Like, I just wasn't thinking much about it. Like, still very enjoyable. A very enjoyable like comedy. But yeah, blew me away.
Cool.
Highly recommend.
Is that your roundup?
I've watched other shit, but it's not important, is it?
Okay, before I forget, hang on.
What's happened? Is this part of the episode? What are you doing?
Something in my pocket.
Oh my god.
So this is like our Valentine's Day episode, and I think that like we're talking about Marvel films, so you can choose where to edit this in. This is, I don't think platonic relationships get celebrated enough, and I thought this was like a really cute gift that I saw on Amazon when I was like surfing, so I got us the Deadpool Wolverine.
Oh my god.
Best friend necklaces.
Wait, that's so cool.
Yeah. Which one do you want?
Oh my god, no, up to you. Also, where the fuck was that stored?
My back pocket. Wouldn't you like to know? They're all kind of tangled together.
This
now.
is so cute. Oh.
I'll let you have like a little play with them.
Thank you.
It's alright.
You shot me live on air, Owen.
I know.
Wait, this is so adorable. Happy Valentine's Day,
Happy
y'all.
Valentine's Day. 2 days after.
Oh my. Well, I mean, it'll be ages. Yeah. Dude, this is real time. Who do you want?
I think I want Deadpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I mean, I do look like Hugh Jackman. So.
I think you're closer to like Hugh. I'm more like fair, and you're like darker. So you're like closer.
Yeah.
You're more Hugh Jackman, I think.
I've got the body.
Yeah, the gym's paying off.
Yeah. They actually called me up because they were like, we're casting the X-Men in the MCU, and we need someone who's like, do you know, a Hugh Jackman type.
Yeah, they went, we need someone who puts the man in adamantium.
Yep.
Yep.
That was Kevin Feige, word for word.
Yeah.
But I had to deny it because I said, I'm not comic accurate. I'm not small enough to play Wolverine. So
you didn't offer to get surgery to make you shorter?
No.
You know what? A true actor who is committed to his craft would have gone through that surgery.
No, I will be playing Cyclops instead.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, this is cute.
Thanks. I'm gonna probably hold them up to the camera because otherwise this is just not interesting, is it?
Well,
no, you do your one, and then they're on 2 different. They're like side by side. I have no idea how this looks.
this does well. It's bad. This is hilarious. How long can we do that before it's...
It's like the classic like 2010s YouTuber thing of like holding it up and then like trying to get it to focus on the.
Hey guys, I'm wearing...
Look at our haul.
Oh, good lord. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That's so cute.
I'm going to put it on now that we're here.
Yeah, I had debated that. I think I will, but this will take me a while because it's one of those annoying little hook things.
I think it might be long enough that you can kind of see it. Like if you throw it in the front.
5 minutes later.
I'm going to ask the question while you're doing that.
Yeah.
So you're going to answer a question while struggling to put a necklace on.
Oh, I can multitask like a motherfucker. Never mind.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, baby!
Yay!
Is it on the right way, though?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of... Oh. Kind of...
You might want to pull on your right side. Get it under the fleece. Because it was like hanging over the fleece. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Owen.
Right. You're very welcome. I have a question. And I've not seen this question, so
Now you've seen it.
No, it's on Discord. And
What?
No. It's sent to me on Discord.
Oh, right.
And it's got a spoiler tag over it so that I can
Lovely.
see it. Do you have a film or TV show that you feel was made for you? E.g. a film that feels like it gets you, or a film that might be a little bit too relatable for you, etc.
Oh. The first film that came to mind for me was a film called Shit House.
Which you mentioned not too long ago. To me,
Yeah.
at least. I don't know about the podcast.
I don't know if this came up. Maybe it maybe came up when we were talking about our films that we're excited for. Because to be honest, the director's filmography kind of... I mean, he's only had 2 movies, but they both kind of speak to me. Shithouse and Cha Cha Real Smooth. Cooper Raiff is his name. I don't know. It hit me at the time, I guess. It was about somebody really struggling through uni and feeling very lonely. We were at uni during COVID. I don't know. I just relate to it a lot, and kind of like it. A male protagonist who is very emotional, and that's not like a detriment. Like, really loves his family and kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. I don't know. I just really related to his character in it. So yeah, that's the first one that popped into my head. I don't know if now if I watch it I'd still feel similar, or if it like cast me back to when I was in uni or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a good answer. I don't have an answer for this.
Really?
I can't think of something that like gets me. Honestly, like, don't want to answer Doctor Who, because like that's not. What I mean is like, you know, you're like if you're watching a comedy, like is that your sort of comedy?
Yeah.
Like, that show doesn't get me. It fucking made me.
Oh sure, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. So that's a weird one. Because like I sat down when I was like 4 years old and then just have not stopped watching it. So like that's probably influenced a lot of my personality. In terms of something that gets me, because I feel like what you're talking about is like something that's like so relatable. Like just like,
like hard to watch because you're like,
yeah, like it's like, oh, I can feel all that, and like I went to uni and like, oh, yeah, no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that like that I feel like that about. I feel like I have an obsession with time.
yes,
which I think you know, just like time running out. I'm like 24 years old, but like just I have an obsession with like how quickly it passes and things. In a film that's on like the forefront of my brain right now is Arrival. I feel like I really feel Arrival.
interesting.
And I don't know why. just being able to view things as like live in memories and things, but like obviously that film's different because you're living in the future as well as the past and the present all at once and things. But
spoilers.
I guess I don't know that in terms of like feeling. I really feel that film.
Is there a character that pops into your head, like even if that's a show or something, like that's me, like I see myself represented? Do you know I'm saying that? Maybe this gives you a little bit of time to think. My brain went to New Girl, and the main character in that, New Girl, like Zooey Deschanel. I remember when watching that as a kid and being like, oh, me. Can I scrap? I still maintain Shithouse.
Uh-huh.
I have never been more represented by a character than Ben in Parks and Rec. And you can ask multiple people this. I got called Ben when I was like in high school.
You said Ben and my brain went to Ben 10.
Yeah,
I've never felt
I
more
relate.
represented by Ben 10. Mine's a SpongeBob.
Nice.
Very niche character. I actually have no idea.
No?
Great question, but I can't think of something that I... Like, because neither of my answer, Doctor Who and Arrival, like, they don't fit this question. It's just, like, things that are, like, always forefront of my brain, if that makes sense. Things I think about a lot.
Never something that, like, even a comfort show or something that you stick on that you're like, oh, I'm comforted by this because that is me. Like, I often find that the things that I enjoy the most, like, that'll come back to time and time again, I do that because I see myself in it. Like, Booksmart is one of my favourite movies because at the time, I was like, yeah, that's me. Like, and even now, I might be like a different person, you're always changing, whatever, but you can still like go back to that and be like, oh, I'm watching a version of me, which I think is kind of cool. That you have like bookmark like characters or like films for points in your life. You don't have anything like that?
No, my comfort shows are, again, Doctor Who. How I Met Your Mother. I feel like once upon a time I felt like I could kind of relate to the character of Ted, which I know is kind of like a red flag because that character is like... but like just the whole thing of like maybe thinking too far ahead about like a wife and kids and things like that, and like really wanting like the full like picture relationship and only caring about that, and that's only where his brain's at. Like that whole show is like him...
The man's mentally ill.
Yeah, he's thinking too far ahead about his life and not just kind of like living in the moment.
He's not seen Kung Fu Panda.
He's not seen Kung Fu Panda. He doesn't realise how important the present is.
Thanks.
Yeah, so like maybe Ted once upon a time, which doesn't make any sense because I'm more of a Marshall anyway, apparently.
If you see yourself as a Ted, you go with you.
I don't see myself as a Ted, but I feel like I could relate to some things that he felt way back when I was watching the show when I was a bit younger. I'm actually sort of rewatching that show now.
Oh,
like I've watched like a couple episodes of it.
Lovely.
But no, I actually cannot answer this question. This is a really difficult question for me. I don't think there is anything that just like gets me that I can think of. There could be, I just can't think of it at the top of my head.
I often think a lot of the like... I was actually going to cast a blanket statement there. This is not true for everybody, but for me, I think those like indie character study, comedy drama, like a lot of the main characters in that, I'm like, yeah. I don't know if that's me just like projecting onto tons of characters. That could also just be a problem.
Well, there's that thing of like, I've seen loads of TikToks about it of like, oh, I just finished such and such film. This is my new personality for this week. And I do think I had that when I was younger as well, where like I felt like I could relate to all these characters and things that I was seeing. But like a well-written script, I think, means that you can relate to the main character, or like at least a character in the film that you're watching, because the point is that you're trying to like see the internalization of that character. Like you can see their thoughts and processes, and you're inevitably, because we're all human beings, going to be able to relate to one of those characters in some way.
But it's a combination, I feel like, that makes...
Yeah, there's... I think what this question about is like the strength of that, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't...
Sure.
I actually can't think of something that just...
I'm trying to think of, like, what... This is awful, but, like, what I would say for you. Like...
That's fine, that might help. Also, I'll just go Letterboxd and see what films I've seen.
You know, films that come to mind...
Trainspotting.
The Incredible Hulk.
Megalopolis.
Oh yeah, you see yourself as Adam Driver. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't?
Who am I?
I end the episode there and I go, to be continued. What a really good question, though.
Yeah, an excellent question.
I feel like actually, the more and more that I rewatch it, Frances Ha becomes a painfully relatable character. I'm just listing about great movie. If you haven't seen Frances Ha, go watch Frances Ha.
I feel like I'm going to mention this character. This isn't my answer because it's a bit of a cop out, but like Spider-Man's such a relatable character.
Oh, sure.
Because it's the whole thing of like young person, regardless of where they choose to snapshot it, whether it's 16 or 26, like young person trying to juggle their life. And obviously there's the very obvious ones of like he's a superhero and then he's not a superhero, but there's like levels to that. There's like the Spider-Man aspect, and then he's got like school or college or whatever, and then he's got like relationships around it, and it's literally like that is everybody's life. So like you're trying to juggle work and relationships and everything else. So that I can relate to that character. I think especially
being a nerdy white boy.
Yeah. Well, specifically like being a nerdy white boy.
Because shocker, would you believe that I kind of relate to Spider-Man as well?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I don't think it's a good answer, because I feel like there is plenty of people that can relate to
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
but that's, I think, the beauty of Spider-Man stories is that they are just human stories masked as like superhero stories.
It'd be funny if I just come up with like a really out of pocket one, like I can really relate to Bumblebee. I just being something that transforms my car into a robot. And doesn't have a voice. Just like actually make it like deep.
Everything I'm saying is empty.
Everything I say is just recycled words from what I've heard before.
Yeah. Aren't we all Bumblebee in a way?
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
Jesus.
I love how distressed this has made you.
I can really... I feel like Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can see that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. Every time before we start the podcast, you have to calm me down, because otherwise like I would just sound like that in the podcast.
There's a slime trail just all the way into the room.
Excuse me. Anxiety from insanity.
That orange bitch.
Yeah.
Who can't relate?
Alright, I'm going to stop now. I can't come up with a good answer. Sorry about that.
I don't know if this will eat away at you. This would eat away at me. It probably won't eat away
I'll probably
at you.
keep thinking about it. Maybe I'll come back next week with an answer.
Ooh, tease. And with that was episode 8 of Plot to Go. Thanks so much for listening.
8 episodes, that's crazy.
I know, that is crazy. And this was, I know I've said other episodes have been jam-packed.
Oh, this was
really jam-packed.
We only spoke about 2 films.
Yep.
Mainly.
I apologise for my ranting.
No, that's fine. I think that's actually really funny, and I'm looking forward to like hearing it back.
We've been on a bad string of movies as well. I feel like there hasn't been like proper bangers.
We had a really good week somewhere in there.
Oh, last week was all right. Oh no, it wasn't.
Was it not two or 3
Oh,
weeks
The Brutalists and the Traitors.
Yeah,
that was you though. Oh, Saturday night that week.
Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows? Time's a construct.
Arrival.
Where's Amy Adams? Bring her out.
The live audience is like,
woo! Amy Adams, come on the pod. Next week, we're going to be talking about I'm Still Here, my final Best Picture nominee to watch. Not to call you out or nothing.
Yeah, what? There's an awards season showings at Cineworld.
I saw this. Yeah,
so we'll probably end up catching like a complete unknown and stuff
in the cinema.
Yeah,
nice. Good for you, on.
Patronizing.
And we will talk about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, because that'll have finished up
sick
as well. I think that's it.
Yeah, I should check what I have on my calendar, but I don't imagine there was much more than that.
Yeah, we might talk next week a little about news and kind of catching up with that kind of stuff. Because there's been a lot going on, especially about Emilia Perez. Fun. Exciting. Get hyped.
Go like, subscribe, follow, rate.
You got it.
I don't know if there's any more than that. Ask us a question, please.
Yeah. Ask us a question.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, follow us on Spotify. Helps.
Yep.
And if you've been enjoying it, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.